Happy Friday. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the Lymph Lounge once again, the conversational podcast about cultivating a state of flow in our bodies and our lives. So sit back and relax because today we are talking about parasites. Yes, we're going there. 3 signs your body may need drainage support and a low-tox living guide. So for my thoughts of the week this week, I want to talk about parasites and parasite cleanses. I have seen many instances where parasite cleanses can do more harm than good. So I'm at the point where I'm like, okay, I need to talk about this. I see so many posts on social media normalizing aggressive or frequent parasite cleanses where it's like, hey, it's full moon. Have you done your parasite cleanse? And I think it is important to raise awareness about parasites and parasite cleanses and why it may not be for everyone. So first of all, parasites are not a root cause. It is a symptom of a larger issue. There is a reason why parasites chose your body as a home, and that reason is more likely the root cause. It can be a simple, unfortunate lifestyle exposure where you came in contact through contaminated water or swimming at a resort, for example, or eating a raw oyster or sushi. And in that case, yes, maybe a parasite cleanse would be beneficial, but what I see often is other factors that are important to look at. Those can be heavy metal levels in the body, mold or mycotoxins, or even emotional trauma, pesticides, or herbicides. There's many different causes that would make your body a good home for parasites. And when the parasites linger and thrive, they are there for a reason. They are trying to digest something and help keep you alive. We are not separate from nature. And in nature, parasites do have a function. It doesn't mean we have to put up with them, as they do have some pretty nasty, harmful effects on the body. They produce a lot of toxic byproducts and waste, and the body then has to deal with that, right? So we do eventually want to help the body balance itself and free itself from parasite infection. But before starting a parasite cleanse, there are 3 factors you can take into consideration. And those are overall inflammation in the body, the state of your digestive function, and also overall body stressors that are present. So in my books, those are more important to look at first than parasites, and for a couple of reasons. And those reasons are, first, if the body is already inflamed, a parasite cleanse will only add to that and will stress the body a lot more. And traditionally, it might be best to bring that inflammation down so the body can actually handle the stress of a parasite cleanse. Secondly, let's not forget that when parasites die, a lot of waste is produced in the body, not counting the dead parasites themselves. So it is a lot for the body to eliminate. So if the colon drainage pathway is not open, or worse, if the liver, gallbladder, and kidney pathways are not open fully, then a lot of the waste has the potential to be recirculated and then create more stress and inflammation in return. Additionally, let's not forget that many parasite cleanses don't just target, with a parasite cleanse, you're not just targeting the bad. It targets everything, wipes out everything so we can start anew, but that can affect the gut microbiome a lot. So it's important to keep that in mind and look at what kind of gut support the body will need before, during, after. And lastly, many parasites have also been shown to promote hormonal imbalances in the body. So if they are killed quickly, like during a cleanse or an aggressive cleanse, that can create major hormonal imbalances as your body is trying to rebalance itself quickly, especially if parasites have been there for a while. So it's also important to keep that in mind. So this is my take on this, and I hope this helps and makes you think twice, maybe before starting a parasite cleanse, just because you suspect you may have parasites, or you see a lot of people doing parasite cleanses, or you may have been told you have parasites, and maybe could have potentially resulted in more harm than good. Now, for this week's featured topic, I want to share with you 3 signs that your body may need drainage support. A question I get a lot is, Genevieve, how do I know if I need drainage? First of all, drainage is beneficial for everybody. Your body just takes it and runs with it and does what it needs to do with it. It's very supportive. But there might be signs that can tell you, okay, I really need the drainage right now. And I want to use the word drainage here because drainage is more important than a detox. Because drainage in my books, it's always about my books, is more important than a detox. There is a lot of emphasis on detoxes and cleanses nowadays. And this is why it was important for me this week to give my thoughts on parasite cleanses in the first segment of this episode. And I want to repeat again that if your colon drainage pathway is not open, which means complete elimination is happening less than 1 to 3 times per day, then a cleanse or detox will probably just make you feel worse because the waste will just be recirculated. And I can tell you that in many, many cases, working on opening up all the drainage pathways can make a big difference and can result in a cleanse or a detox, quote unquote, detox, not even being needed. I know there's a lot of conflicting information out there about if a detox or cleanse program is good for you or the right strategy for you or not. Well, by focusing on opening up drainage, we might not even have to go there. We might not even have to participate in the debate where is it good, is it bad, do you need it, do you not need it, right? It can save a lot of time and energy. After all, the body is designed to detox itself perfectly, right? The problem is, oftentimes the body needs support to perform those functions that it is designed to do. Even if we all try to strive for our best health possible, we may find ourselves from time to time bogged down by lifestyle factors that are hard to control or hard to pinpoint. And to function at optimal levels, drainage of all pathways must be happening daily. You can go back to the episodes part 1 and 2 that I did on drainage pathways for more information about that. But toxicities and or nutritional deficiencies can cause imbalances that show up in unexpected ways. And if left unaddressed, it could prevent your body from draining and healing properly. This can leave your system overloaded and or with insufficient reserves to bring you back to a state of wellness. And the hard truth about detox is it's almost impossible to avoid all toxicants and chemicals as they are present in our environment. And I'll talk about this a little bit more in the next segment on low-tox living. But when our bodies encounter environmental toxicants, our body will process and eliminate them with the help from the various systems and organs that drain our body, which are called the drainage pathways, especially the lymphatic system, which is one of them, and organs such as the liver, gallbladder, colon, and kidneys. What happens is, it's when toxicants accumulate too quickly for the body's detox system to be able to process, or, like I said, that the drainage is not happening optimally. That is when it builds up in the body. And once your body has more on its plate than it can manage, it can struggle to catch up and working over time and overtaxing itself, right? So at this point, there can be signs of inflammation or other unwelcome challenges that can appear. And not only that, but the vicious cycle is when your body gets exhausted in this way, it's easy to form unhealthy habits or to go to extreme to try to cope with those, So it may be tempting to turn to caffeine or sugar to combat fatigue, for example. It's perfectly normal, and there is no need to have shame or guilt around those habits. Watching for the symptoms and being aware is key because an overwhelmed body can eventually lead to more serious complications. So this is why I love drainage and lymphatic health so much. Drainage is one of the easiest ways to get started and ease symptoms. And drainage, either through lymph drainage therapy or a personalized lifestyle plan, is like hitting the reset button on your body through the lymphatic system. So this is my little spiel on detoxing in general and why I prefer to just go the drainage route. That being said, here are the 3 signs your body may need drainage. And I want to share with you today the 3 main warning signs that I see the most when the body needs drainage support. They are often associated with many different reasons or quote unquote root causes that the health industry seems to be using a lot lately, but really at the core, it is more of a drainage issue than anything else. So the first one, food and sugar cravings. Cravings are a sign your body is in a higher toxic state because when the body becomes strained, it will seek out foods that are simple to digest, like carbs and sugary foods that provide instant energy. So that's sign number 1 that I see the most often. Sign number 2, inflammation and water retention. So inflammation can occur when the body experiences imbalances. Some symptoms of inflammation include joint issues and occasional pain, intestinal discomfort or bloating and all those symptoms, right, of digestive distress and more. What's interesting, just a side note, is in Chinese medicine, joint pain is associated with liver congestion. So there's an interesting connection there. So inflammatory and hormone imbalances can also cause your body to retain more water than usual. So it's kind of related. Inflammation and water retention, like water retention is your body's way of trying to dilute the toxicants, right? So it kind of like goes together. The third one is fatigue and or insomnia. Even when you may not feel tired, you may still feel fatigued, not at 100%. Symptoms of fatigue include a need for caffeine or maybe feeling low energy or even some brain fog. If you don't have natural energy when you wake up, it's important to find out why. Fatigue often is a sign your body needs help to lighten your toxic load. Other signs that I see often when the body might need drainage support include occasional headaches, skin issues, low mood or mood swings, sluggishness, amongst others. So no matter what you're facing, drainage can help rejuvenate the body and help support the body in decreasing the toxic load and bringing your body back to balance. Remember, the lymphatic system not only cleans the waste and eliminates it out of the body with the help of the drainage pathways, but the lymphatic system also brings regeneration. So that's also an important factor. So I hope this helps you better understand if drainage is right for you and how drainage can help support the body. As the third and last segment for today, I want to share with you the free resource for this week. Don't forget, if you want your own PDF copy of what we're going to talk about today with a few additional tools and more information, make sure to join the newsletter at lymphinitiatives.com/newsletter. You will have access to not only today's resource, but also a vault that contains all of the past resources shared since the beginning of the year. So the resource this week is a Low-Tox living guide. I shared this guide earlier this year before I had the podcast, and I think it is good to feature it on the podcast, especially this week since we're talking about drainage and parasites, and reshare it in the newsletter. It is a good place to start because it helps to address one of the aspects of drainage, which is the chemical load in the body. As I said before, toxicants are everywhere these days, and they're in our food, water, the products we use, and even the air we breathe. It's almost impossible to avoid them. And when these toxicants slowly build up in our bodies, it can overwhelm our lymphatic system. That's why low-tox living is gaining steam. Going low-tox can feel overwhelming at first for a lot of people, but once you get the hang of it, there are many benefits of a more natural way of living. And this is why I wanted to share this guide with you today. And I think it's important as well to talk about low-tox instead of no-tox, because no-tox, it is absolutely impossible unless you don't come out of your house. But even if you stay in your house, you're going to be exposed. So it's impossible. And I prefer to talk about low-tox because it is more manageable and then you can still have a life. But first, let's start with some basics. What are toxicants? Toxicants are toxic substances introduced into the environment. For example, radiation or a pesticide. They are in large part of human intervention. Toxicants are not to be confused with toxins, which are naturally occurring organic poisons, produced by metabolic activities of living cells or organisms. For example, the toxin produced by the Clostridium botulinum bacteria used in cosmetic injections. That's an example of a toxin. And toxicants are at a low enough potency and dose that makes us sick over time or kills us slowly. Toxins, on the other hand, such another example is like snake venom, can kill us fast with one exposure. Also, what is low-tox living? So low-tox living is the idea of creating a lifestyle that limits our toxicant exposure. And it's way simpler than you think. All you do is swap out products for natural versions as they run out or as you need them. There are hundreds of environmental toxicants, and as I said, while we can't avoid them altogether, we can certainly limit our exposure. And this benefits our health and also the environment. So here's a few examples of common toxins to watch out for and where they may hide. Mercury can hide in seafood, silver, dental fillings, broken thermometers, broken CFL bulbs. Those are just a few examples. Cadmium can be found in batteries, plastics, metal coatings, or house dust. BPAs, which can be found in plastic, food, and drink packaging, metal can linings, thermal paper receipts, or even PFAs that are present in cookware, clothing, cosmetics, drinking water, wrappers, and stain-resistant furniture. Phthalates, shampoo and conditioner, cosmetics, lotions, deodorant, nail polish, anything that says fragrance. Pesticides and herbicides, non-organic foods, of course, and even some organic foods, unfortunately. Another example is benzene, can be found in laundry detergent, gasoline or oil, pesticides, inks, plastics, or even arsenic as well can be one that you find in soil, rice, fish, and drinking water. Now, I always hesitate to share lists like this because I don't want people to panic. I don't want people to be overwhelmed. So this is just some of the examples. And I want to remind everyone that yes, it can be overwhelming at first. So start small. And this is what we're going to talk about today. What I have found, the easiest at first is to discard anything fragranced. Because usually it's like not necessary, like essential for daily life and not necessarily essential in the household. So that can be a really good start. Those scented plugins or candles, for example. And then when your scented laundry detergent is empty, then you swap for an unscented version. And when your all-purpose cleaner is empty, your scented one, you swap for an unscented version, or you can make your own. So over time, all those little actions count. So maybe you can do an inventory of your house and see either what you can discard or replace when it comes to scented products. Another tip I can share is to start investing in cleaner air and cleaner water first. According to the EPA in the US, indoor air quality can be 2 to 5 times worse than outdoor air, and the average American spends nearly 90% of their time indoors. Things like furniture, carpet, mattresses, and building materials can off-gas toxicants like formaldehyde into our homes, and it's impossible to escape it altogether. But again, we can decrease our exposure by purifying the air in the places where we spend the most time. So air filters and air ionizers or even air purifying plants are a great place to start. So some of the best air purifying plants are peace lily, spider plant, snake plant, aloe vera, queen fern, and rubber plant. Just make sure they are pet friendly if you have pets. I know the snake plant isn't, I don't think. And you can also open windows regularly to help with circulation. This is a free thing you can do. And taking off your shoes when entering your home. This is also something that doesn't cost anything. So toxicants can actually stick to your shoes and make their way inside your home. So just a few tips here for air quality. And then water. About 70% of the human body is made of water. We can't survive without it. The trouble is toxicants can lurk in our water as well. Contaminants like arsenic, heavy metals, pesticides, ammonia, bacteria, and even byproducts of prescription drugs work their way into our water supply. Plus, Most water treatment facilities use chlorine to disinfect water. While this kills bacteria and makes the water safer, it can pose health problems as well. So filtering your drinking water either by using a water filter pitcher, a faucet mounted filter, or even investing in a whole home filtration system. If you're in the market for a water filter, Centivia is a great brand. I've been using it for years. You can also use a shower filter as well. These attach to your shower head and remove chlorine and other toxicants from your water. Now, the last thing I want to talk about is I want to touch on skincare because I find skincare is used as a scapegoat for toxicants to distract from the fact that we have other fish to fry when it comes to toxicant exposure. And greenwashing is very rampant in the skincare industry, and I feel like it gives a false sense of safety for people when skincare is just a teeny tiny part of low-tox living. It is a myth that the skin absorbs everything. It is not like a sponge. It is designed as a barrier. It is the first barrier we have with the outside. So if it's absorbing instead of protecting, you have a big problem there. And we have to look at what kind of stripping agents you are using, not the possible toxicant in your skincare. See, the bigger picture is all the skincare products and ingredients that strip the barrier and make the skin vulnerable and destroy that waterproof barrier in the first place. And that is why things end up in the skin and the bloodstream that normally would not. So as a first step, instead of focusing on reducing your toxicant in your skincare, is to eliminate barrier destructive ingredients or products such as natural soaps, anything soapy, foaming, harsh stripping cleansers. If you feel clean after you cleanse, it's stripped. Anything abrasive, anything retinol or retinaldehyde or vitamin C or any of those harsh active ingredients or any exfoliating acids. So that's what I like to focus on instead with my clients instead of fear-mongering on toxicants in skincare. And of course, it's important in your skincare to have drainage and detoxification ingredients as well, such as fulvic or humic acid. So that helps the skin. So this is what I had for you today in the Lymph Lounge. I hope you enjoyed today's topics. I would love to hear your main takeaways today. You can leave me a rating or a review or even a comment on the blog post on the website and ask your questions there as well. Again, this podcast is available on Pocket Casts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify podcast platforms, as well as my own website, lymphinitiatives.com/podcasts in the form of a blog post, and also on YouTube. So make sure you go ahead and follow or subscribe and turn on notifications depending on which platform you are on. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I will see you in the next episode.